Today we're going to continue working with our data mining workbook, which contains the bank churn dataset. However, we will start looking at a bit of a different, we'll start looking at our data from a bit of a different angle. Let's create a new work tab, and this one we'll call, well, we won't call it anything yet. What we want to visualize here is we want to understand how our customers are distributed by age. So are our customers predominantly older or younger? What age groups are they in? And so on. And as you can see, we already have an age variable here. So the first thing that comes to mind is, let's take age and drag it into columns. And now let's take number of records and drag it into rows. And now we have one big dot over here at the top. Why do we have one big dot? Because, well, what happened is Tableau took the sum of age of all of your customers, and it got just over 380,000 years, and then it took the sum of number of records, so the total number of records 10,000. Before we continue, I'm just going to fix up the format here so we can see better. So you can see here 380,000 or 390,000 and 10,000 customers. So how do we avoid doing that? Well, in my course on Tableau, I talk about aggregation and granularity. We won't go into details about that yet. I'll just show you how to avoid this happening. So if you go to sum age and you just change this from a measure to a dimension, then what will happen is it's not aggregating age anymore. It's using it as a dimension. And as you can see, you've got this nice shape of a curve. So basically, it is telling you how many customers at every given age there are, and it's plotting it with a line. So that's good. But the problem here is that this is a nice data set. So I'm going to right click and I'll show you the data set. If you right click your data set up here and click view data, and you go in here, you will see the details of your data. So there we go, there's age. So here you can see that this is a nice data set in the sense that age has been already rounded for you. In a way, it's not good because you don't have the details, exactly how old the person is. Is he 29 or is he 29 and a half? Or is he 29 and 11 months and a couple of days old? So you don't have that decimal point. You can't tell how exactly old he is, and therefore you've lost some information. But on the other hand, you can't do anything about it. If this is how the data set was provided to you, well, then you got to work with it, and you might as well just enjoy it, because that means it's a nice data set and you have one less thing to worry about. You don't have that decimal point to worry about. So what does that say to us? Well, that says to us that yes, in this case, because they're rounded, Tableau will be able to group your customers. For instance, there's a person who's 36, and there's a person who's 36, and there's a person who's 36, and there's a couple more people who are 36, and then you go to this chart, and then you find 36. Let me just close this. And you find 36, and you find that there's 456 people that have 36 in that column. What you will find is with other data sets, when it's not rounded for you, then you'll have people who are 36 and a half, you'll have people who are 36.2, 36.3, and that will cause this chart to go to create very strange patterns, because you might have a lot of people who are 36 and a half, but you might have very few people who are 36.6. So it'll be very spiky, and you don't want that in your data. You can already see a spike over here. This is not normal, right? So 29 and then 31. So 348 people, 404 people, and this one went down. Just so happened, maybe these people are about to turn 30, or these people just turned 31, and therefore you have this spike. And you'll see a lot more of them if your data is, I would say, more proper, in the sense it's more precise. So we have to find a way around it, and we have to find a way to visualize our distribution of age regardless of the way our data is presented to us. And this is where we can use bins. This is where bins come in, and this is where we start thinking about converting our numeric variables to categorical variables, into dimensions. So let's start by having a look at that. I'm going to right-click age, and what I want to do is I want to group people into bands. So I want to group people into, for instance, 5-year bands. Anybody between 20 and 25 will go into one group, 25 to 30 will go into the next group, and so on. Well, it's very easy to do it in Tableau. All you have to go do is right-click your variable, and then here select Create, and then select Bins. And here you want an age bin, so we don't want size to be 10, we want size to be 5. So every 5 years, there'll be a new bin. We'll click OK. And here you can see age stayed as a measure, but now we have a dimension which is also age, but it's called age bin. And now what we'll do is we'll take age bin and we'll drag it in to replace age. Well, actually, I need to take age out and then put age in bin there because one's a dimension, the other's a measure. And what you can see right away is a nice distribution, just like the ones we are used to seeing in economics and mathematics. Because what happened here, we've grouped our records by category or by these bins. And the bins are acting as categories. So just like, let's say, gender or the country that people live in, similar way. So it's not recognized, Tableau is no longer recognizing these as numbers. These are categories. So people in this category are between 20 and 25. People in this category are between 25 and 30. By the way, it includes the starting number. So starting from 25 up to the last number before 30. In our case, it's 29. So 25 to 29, 30 to 34, 35 to 39, and so on. And right away, you can see how many people there are in each of these categories. So what else would we want to do here? Maybe let's give it a color so it looks a bit more pleasant. Let's take some number of records, hold down Control and drag it onto color. Personally, I use green for money, so let's use a different color. How about we go with kind of a brownish color, something like that. Apply. And maybe we want to add a label as well, so we don't have to visually check every single time where this is sitting. So we'll go and use some number of records as a label as well. And now you can see that exactly how many people you have in each of these categories. So, and this approach allows you to assess your data a bit more. So now you understand from this sample, which is quite a significant sample, 10,000 people in this sample. So it's very representative of the overall population of this bank. And what you can see is that most people are aged 35 to 40. Quite a few people are between 30 to 40. So basically, this is telling you what is the demographic of the bank like. They're, I would say, more younger people in their 30s that are, most customers are presented by age groups between 30 and 45. So you have the most of your customers are in those age groups. And in fact, if you want to see the percentages, you can easily convert this. So you can just go here and add table calculation like we did previously. You can even add a quick table calculation in this case. So you just need percent of total. And there you go. So you have the exact percentages. This gives you 43 plus 16 gives you 59, right? 59 plus there's like a bit of a percentage. So that gives you 60%. 60% of your customers are in these age bands, and the rest there's like a long tail. So this is a right skewed distribution. So that is a thing to remember as well. So maybe another tip that when the skewed means where the tail is going. If the tail is going to the right, then it's a right skewed. This is not a left skewed. A lot of people get it wrong. A left skewed would be if the tail was going to the left. So that's a statistical term to keep in mind. It's a right skewed distribution. You got a long tail to the right. You can have customers at 90 years old. And so what are we going to do now? That's pretty much what we want to do with this chart. I'll just show you one quick thing. You can change the bins very easily. You can just go to age and then you go to edit. And here, let's say we want a 10-year band. See, right away it's changed. And now you can see that you got most customers between 30 and 40, and then 40 to 50, you have 26%. So I'm going to Control Z that. And that's all we wanted to do here. The last thing you might want to do is change this axis because it's not consistent with your percentage. You might want to change it to percentage, but that's details we're just investigating, so we won't be doing that right now. And that's all for today. I look forward to seeing you next time, and until then, happy analyzing.